She said, how are you doing?
Oh, how am I doing? I'm doing it good.
It's the awkward stage of things. Let me tell you how you do it.
That's all I know is I'm just on fire. Place the disaster.
That's what I've done.
Goes in our files. You sure? This one goes in files.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. Let's see, where are we? I call this meeting to order. Welcome. If you're able to, please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Okay, good.
Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item number 4 is adoption of our agenda. Would someone like to make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda?
I will make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
And a second?
I will second.
Thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. Item number 5 is call to the public. Do we have any public comment cards? No. Fantastic. Seeing none, we're going to continue just to move right on along. Item number 6 is our information and discussion items tonight. Item A is our business office presentation. Starting with Mr. Livingston. I mean, I can change it up if
That's
you want.
fine. Madam President, members of the board, our IT director here, and Larry and I were just discussing this, and I thought he's going to be really disappointed because I was prepared to, after an hour, let superintendent know, or it might be time to shut him down after an hour, but he said that probably won't be the case. So when he comes, it'll be for the team. So I did hand out a little, if I make it to 6 minutes, that's when I'm gonna just stop and run out of gas.
Start that time to go.
Time has started.
That's right. So I've given you a little summary of the goals we have in the business office. And I've given you 2 sheets on project summaries that we have for the school facilities board. So I'd like to just mention a couple things that we have been using and are doing lately. I've had the opportunity in the last 16 months to revise annual financial reports. We did it twice last November. The deadline for annual financial reports for the 24 year was October 15th of 24. I came back to the board in November and changed some numbers, and then the Department of Ed took those numbers, and they were small, like $5,000 changes. So now I have good news. I'm very hopeful that the Department of Ed School Finance Unit has got about $130,000 that we can add to next year's budget, which we just started the new year, 23 year and 24 year. So the only way I can bring those funds forward is to rewrite those annual financial reports. Last week I had 6 people at school finance help me do that. And that will decrease the expense in our operating fund and then increase the carry forward, which we really like to have. So sometimes I get involved and our office gets involved in just really looking back at data and seeing funds. We have about 9 of these cash short funds. As the year goes by, they don't have enough cash to pay the bills, so we don't put any expense in there. As the revenue rolls in, then we can transfer our expense from M&O in there and use up that cash. And these are 2 cash funds that we had. So we would bring in, and I think that's on the agenda tonight, to approve these revisions of the 23-24 year annual financial report. The goals that we've specified are to do with tagging our assets. Again, we just got this in front of you now, tagging our assets. We sometimes spend over $5,000 and then we have to depreciate those assets, whether it's a bus or whether it's a piece of IT equipment. I believe this room with all the installation was around $14,000. So that got what we call a red tag. So we tag it, and then each year it goes down in value over the useful life. So it's a $15,000 asset. It's got a 15-year useful life. Every year it goes down. We have to tag that, depreciate it as if we were a private sector company with the depreciation expense, which we don't have. But the federal government says we need to do it. So we're auditors, so we do it. So that's the first goal, to keep up with that. It's always a challenge. We've got so many projects now. If you take a look at the bottom of the second page, we'll go right to the bottom of the second page. You just flip it over and it's the very back sheet there. Page 2, so that would be project number 26 to 43, that's the page you're looking at, has a value of $28 million. These are the school facilities board projects. If you go to page 1, there's another 4.2 million, way back in 21, 22 year. So together, 28 for 32 million has already been approved. Of that 28 million has been paid. You just follow the column over. So there's a lot of steps involved sometimes. Sometimes it's pretty simple. Sometimes it's got about a 14-step process to even bring these awards to the district. So that's our second goal, to close these out. And sometimes it's quite difficult to do a closeout because you have to have a warranty. That's a new requirement from the school facilities board in the last 100 years. They want us to have a warranty from the installer or the contractor. If they won't give us a warranty, school facilities board leaves that project open, and it's a violation of our terms and conditions, so we don't like that. So that's one of our goals is that there's a review way to sign. Here's a Lamper who's in training right now to become a certified school business manager. I can't tell you how many phone calls she makes to all kinds of contractors for roofing and bleachers and fire alarms, companies to send things like warranties and correct invoices. So it's just a constant communication, which takes us down to number 3 goal. Our goal is to create architect and general contractor review schedules per district awards and school purchasing support. We do a lot of purchasing in the office. Every purchase we make has to be done on a purchase order. And sometimes there's 7 different phone calls that have to happen between the vendor and supplier and the site, whether it's a school or a department, and the district office. And one in particular, Mayor's worked on 2 years ago, was our arts grant, 42,000. Every school had about 8,000 to spend. And I think Mayor's probably made over 50 phone calls. The state agency that gave us that grant, the Arts Council, wanted a lot of information. So at the end of that, we gave them every invoice for $42,000 worth of arts. I think there were 7 pages of invoices.
It is huge.
So that's what is behind the scenes when we're purchasing. It's also mirrored in our school facilities board awards that do assessments, then design, and then contractors. And it's just a great opportunity to have people that really like to communicate. The last one is staff development and continuous. We say continuous development in USFR. We have a set of regulations that we follow for financial accounting. They changed them July 1st of 24. So now if you were a teacher, always and forever, you got a 6112 object code. That's what we paid your salaries on. Last year, they put in 14 new codes. So Rhonda, now we're going back and forth with USFR compliance. Now, if you're a teacher and you're doing overtime, and it might be with one of our mentoring grants, you're a 6164. But if you're an aide doing it, you're a 6134. And all of these have to be changed. So we just have continuous improvement with that. And we never stop talking to the Auditor General about that. So on monitoring on our staff development and on the bottom there, continuous development, USAR, policy guidelines, staff regulations. This is where Mears and I review everything, monthly reviews with budget manager, curriculum previews, site staff development. We're always trying to reach out in our office to staff that needs either financial, budget information or purchasing information. We review all these every quarter. So that's the first part. Any question on fixed assets or SFD closeouts or communication or staff development? So, what do I have, 2 minutes?
Oh, no, you've been out of time.
Okay.
I just kept letting it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So if you go back to page 2, this is my wrap up. Thank you. Back to page 2. You look in the top section. If you look at the top section, you see the 32 million awarded and 28 million paid as of today. Then you go to the bottom 4 items there, 44, 45, 46, 47. These are what's coming. And you see the bottom right, it says coming soon to a school near you. So here we go. We have 3 high school window projects and 1 Del Rio window project to get new high efficiency double pane windows put in, 620,000. That's not been awarded yet. It's applied for. The HVAC at our Del Rio building, the contractor fee and the architect fee, 3.6 million. That has been fully awarded. We're just waiting for updated contracts because those bids are November of 24. So those bids are 9 months and 10 months old. but the project is awarded. So once the contractor, we know the 128,000 from the architect is not going to go up, but the contractor bids 3,490,000. That'll go up to 3,500,000 or 3,600,000 or 3,700,000. Then we can get started on Del Rio. The whole south end of the campus will get nice HVAC 5 and 10 ton chilled. The next one is a fire alarm at the high school, and we also need a fire alarm at some point at Territorial. Those are estimated to be together $450,000. And then the 4 new buildings are at the bottom as well. That's the last thing. Number 47 is the $4,038,000. That is awarded. You put all 4 of those together, you're at another $8.7 million in the far right corner. You add that to the 32 that's been awarded, the district's pushing 41 million on boards. That's all I have. Any questions?
You still have that much time?
No,
No, no.
I don't want to cut into Larry's side because I know he's good.
Any questions? Fantastic. All right, we'll move right along with Mr. Fulmer, please.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. I believe you have my goals in the old-fashioned way. I had last week off, as Marcia knows. I was at the county fair and I completely forgot to digitize my goals before I ran out of here. So in front of you, you see the goals that I have kind of presented for the technology department. A lot of these are very similar to what we did last year. I think a lot of our roles have not really changed a whole lot. I think our biggest role right now, I know we talk a lot about security, and that is on my list, but cybersecurity is our big role right now. We have a lot of bad actors, as they like to call the industry, that are out there sending out emails, trying to get people to click on links on websites, all sorts of crazy things to try to steal our data or our students' data in a lot of ways, because there's money to be had through doing so. And so we have a lot of projects that we do. Arizona Department of Homeland Security is definitely a big player in what we can do, because they get money from the state and sometimes the federal government to offer us things that we can do, such as our Duo multi-factor authentication. We do the trust, who is also involved. Our insurance company also provides us with some of these functions. We can do some of our phishing testing, which we simulate fake emails to see who's falling for it and clicking and whatnot. One of our nice accomplishments lately is Homeland Security, right before school started offering another solution that would help us screen all of our emails. So when these legitimate phishing emails do come in, that we can actually get them removed before they clutter up our inboxes and risk us clicking on things. And so every week we get email reports, and typically, I think lately, a couple hundred are not going, and a lot of those are going to our high-end. Cindy gets a lot of those, Heidi gets a lot of those, and it's helping them, because now they're not having to go through that and worry it's as bad as it's not. So that was definitely a nice addition to what we can offer all of our staff, to just help keep us efficient in that. But of course, then we have to punch holes in that to let the fake ones come through. So it's fun. So that's kind of our big cybersecurity. Again, we're always watching. New trickery comes out all the time, and we're just trying to keep everybody safe. But the human element is always our biggest factor, unfortunately, and there's not a whole lot we can do about that, but train our staff, which we did at the all-staff training, but we just kind of keep poking at it. District technology is my next goal. Unfortunately, technology ages like our canine friends. Things that we buy today are soon outdated, break, as we see our camera in the back is still out because it decided to take a little time off as well. So we're working on that. But a lot of things that are aged out with technology do become security vulnerabilities, because then they stop getting updates, and we're required to update those, remove them. One of our more recent additions that we've done is with our wireless networking. I don't think anybody really noticed, because we did it fairly well, thanks to Doug Harkrow and my crew, but the main controller that controls all of our wireless access has been swapped to something more up to date, and we're going to be making some changes to that. But we had to do that because our devices that were here at the high school are aged out, and they're not going to be supported anymore. So we have to constantly keep those in motion. Another thing I've been talking about for a while now with our Windows computers, the operating system, Windows 11, is where we have to go because the old stuff will be out of date as of next month. So actually next Monday, we've set ourselves a drop dead date that if anything hasn't been updated, we're just gonna flip the switch, turn it off and force a tech call because we have to get those updated because again, they will stop getting security updates and become issues for us. And we're just trying to stay ahead of that. So that's a constant thing that we have to keep our eye on. My third goal area is actually then the physical security side. I know that's not something that I handle. I know Matt Gronick back there, he's watching over us right now. He's involved with that, but there is a technology element to even security now. We have a lot of security cameras out there. One of the things we're doing, and I'm working with Matt and the rest of the security officers, is to find out where we still have areas that need coverage in our schools. We have a lot of cameras out there, a lot of coverage, but there's still gaps. And of course, our students are really good at finding those gaps and doing all their little tomfoolery in those areas. And so we're trying to work with that. So I'm going to be joining the security crew here a little bit when they do some of their meetings. And we're going to figure out where else we need to do and put it order together. I know we have a lot of special ed rooms that we cover too, EDP, AIMS, our autistic rooms where we want those cameras there just to help cover our staff as well. So we have some additions to that. Also now we have our Share 911 program that's security based, but of course, as anybody who has the app on their phone knows, that thing can get a little wonky, but we have an app on the phone that can alert us. We have a program on all of our computers that will alert us when those incidents do get called out, pop-ups on the screen. But with that, there are technical elements, data pushes that we work with. I know we were working with Mirza recently because a lot of people have trouble with their cell phones, and we've kind of hooked a little camera system up so their support can actually look at a camera look at their phone underneath the camera and it's okay, hit the settings button, hit this, because we want those notifications to go out because when an emergency hits, we want people to know what's going on. As much as they may not like it, they still need to know. And so we're trying to work with that to support our Share 911 to help security. And kind of our last one, and there's not a whole lot of traction yet this year on it, is our artificial intelligence. That was really big last year. We had a lot of Chino Valley School District employees attend a series of classes that my college put out. It was zero cost to us. The Forest View Management Association allocated some money to pay for classes throughout the county. We had a handful of people that took advantage of that, not enough throughout the county, and they're going to be offering some more classes, refined classes that we're going to be doing that to kind of better because our students are being impacted by it, our staff. A lot of people are using it, but we want to kind of teach the ethics and morality of it. A lot of people go to the negative, but there's a lot of positive out there. So those are items that we still have to stay ahead of because it's not going to go anywhere, even though we may not like it. So do you guys have any questions for me?
AI in the classrooms at all?
Not in the classrooms. Most AI is limited age-wise. High school age, if anything, but most of our staff are not really equipped yet to do that. Eric Reddick, who's on my crew, who's at Territorial, has taken that class, and he is working with certain staff members throughout the district to kind of educate them on how to use it. And so we're test driving it in a lot of different areas with the staff that really thrive toward it, because not everybody wants to use these tools. So
He's provided 2 trainings for administrators, and Julie Bryce is the resident AI expert.
Yes.
I just like to play with it and have fun.
She's actually created quite a few things and has done.
yes.
She's always like, when Eric comes to train us, she's always like, wants to know all the little things. So
It's been fun.
Good stuff. It's the future.
Thank you. Item 6B is our superintendent.
work on AI. Okay, next, first up, we have student council report. I'm glad to have student council representatives back with us this year. We went for quite a period without. I think it's Miss Leah, is that correct? Come on up, introduce yourself. I know it's weird to talk to like half the room with behind you, but
It's okay.
Good evening, board members. It's a pleasure to stand in front of you today. I'm Leah Boudreau, the student body president for our student council at Chino Valley High School. I'm excited to take this opportunity to highlight some of our upcoming events we have planned for this month. Something new that we introduced this year at CVHS was the use of video announcements. So our student council members, they film them the day before, so that way the next morning, they're ready to be shown. The initial feedback has been positive, with both students and staff expressing their enjoyment of this engaging new format. For those who do not know, the high school used to do them via the intercom system, so we switched over to video. Our first scheduled event is our first blood drive on September 23rd in the gym. We just kicked off our sign-up efforts during lunch today, and we've had 24 signups already from our community and our students. This event serves as a vital way for us to come together and is an amazing opportunity to give to those in need. Additionally, I'm pleased to announce that we will be hosting a movie night on September 25th in the gym. Everyone in the community is invited, and it will be a fun-filled evening for everyone. Looking a little bit further ahead, our student council senior class is hard at work organizing our homecoming week. It's scheduled for October 13th through the 18th, which is right after fall break. We're planning an array of events that will engage our student body and celebrate our school pride. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. She was, I don't know if you had a chance to look at the paper, but she's
Featured in the newspaper.
That's right. Thank you, Heidi. I was gonna mention that. She has been highlighted in the newspaper.
Thank you for your time and all you do for the district.
You.
You don't have to stay, Leah, it's okay. Yep. So, board, I'm wondering if you have any questions about the monthly goals updates that the departments and schools provided for you this month. All righty. We'll move on to the superintendent report. Let me get to that one. So, hard to believe, but we are more than halfway through first quarter, which is pretty crazy. We had a visit from our auditors, and there were very few findings. John, I would say you're probably pleased with the auditors. So, a huge congratulations to John's team, because the auditors love to come here because this is an easy job. Like, everything's always done the way it's supposed to be. They have all the backup documentation provided for them, and we always have really positive feedback. And one thing I really appreciate about our business office staff during the audit is when the auditors sit with us and go through any potential findings, the business office still has a chance to resolve those. But I have never, ever seen our business office be like frustrated, flustered, upset by any of that. They take it in stride, and because of John's leadership, they really take it as an opportunity to learn how to do their job better. And I really appreciate that. That takes a different level of professionalism to not be frustrated, by something like that. So,
If I can speak to that just real
Yes,
quick.
ma'am.
So as board president, I do have to speak to the auditors also. And they ask questions like, do you think this, or do you think that? And you almost have to laugh at them, because it's like, have you ever met him? The answer is like, no, are you kidding me? No. So I just.
yeah, it's awesome. And I'm always impressed, like during the exit interview time, like the findings time, all of the business office comes and attends the stuff. It's a really good show of like that esprit de corps that they have in the business office as well. So I know you could see in Sodexo's report that I've emailed you separately that participation overall is really robust. They're making a few adjustments at the high school. Their participation isn't as high as they would like it to be, so they're making a few adjustments there. But otherwise, participation is high across the district. HR, as you know, is deep in the process of completing the position studies, job descriptions, eval tools. They were going to bring IT to you tonight, but they're working on updated placement schedules for salary. Special ed has seen an increase in students this year, particularly at Tech, in our preschool program. And we've seen at Tech a rise in need for diabetes care. So later on in the agenda, you'll hear from Heidi about a new position that we needed to create at Territorial. Currently, we have 17 type 1 diabetics across the district, which require quite a bit of daily care and diabetes care, which is unique. Also, the Coffee with the Superintendent events have been off to a really good start. We've been having fun. This Thursday, we are at Chino Valley High School. And it's just not the same without Julie, I'll say that. So I'm glad that she'll be able to join us this Thursday. I had a community member ask me this weekend, hey, I saw Coffee with the Superintendent thing. Can anybody come to that? I'm like, yeah, if you want to stop in and, chat about whatever you want to chat about, we'd love to have you. But we've had a lot of fun everywhere we've been this year. And I think it's becoming so enculturated. People look forward to it. They come with fun stuff to talk about. They come to share good news with us, things they're excited about. So it's a really fun opportunity. We have, so far, last year at this time, I look back to see, we were actually in worse condition. We've only had one teacher resignation since school started. That was a foreign teacher. And due to a family health reason, we already have filled the position. So that was very seamless. So we're excited about that. Our first Spanish speaking parent night is tomorrow night at 6 o'clock in the CVHS library. Our next one is September 23rd at Heritage. It's a really good opportunity for the schools to connect with their Spanish speaking parents and that element of our community. And what the high school doesn't know, because I only found out this afternoon, we have 4 volunteers who have stepped forward to teach the English classes to the parents again this year. So tomorrow night, our lady is coming who's spearheading that to start getting that word out with the parents. So that was an exciting thing. We've also learned that we're going to have 2 new CTE program options beginning next year through Mountain Institute, cosmetology, which people have been asking for forever, and education professions. So to try to grow some teachers. So those are 2 that are being added. John talked a little bit about the HVAC projects, just the Del Rio main buildings, the last one that's there. Many of you heard or read or saw that the capital lawsuit in which we were a named plaintiff we've had a decision with that. The judge ruled in our favor. We actually won the lawsuit. And it was funny, a couple of weeks ago, I got an email from Channel 15 and they said, hey, can we interview you and talk about the capital lawsuit? I'm like, sure. I don't know how much there is to say. And she's like, well, you won. I'm like, we did? I had no idea. So I said, do you have a copy of the judgment so I can read it before the thing? So it was great. They sent it to me, it was 120 pages long. I kind of read it while I was having lunch, could skim through a lot of it just to, make sure I was up. But I really wanted to read the judge's findings. And the findings were pretty scathing against the legislature. And it's, the state's been sued 2 or 3 times and has lost every time. The voters said you have to fully fund capital projects in Arizona, and you still refuse to. But the problem is, who makes the legislature do their job? If it's the voters have already told them to do their job and they've already said, no, we're not going to. In the 20 years since the voters had passed Students First, the legislature fully funded it once. The very first year, that was it. So all the other years since then, and just to put it in perspective, in order to fully fund all of the things like our SFB requests to get schools to the minimum standard, just the minimum in Arizona, would cost less than 50% of what the state is spending on ESA right now. And more than 50% of ESA money is being held by individual parents to use their kids' college expenses. So money that's been earmarked for K-12 education can be spent on in-state or out-of-state tuition. Yet the legislature funds that, but they will not fund what the voters have told them they have to fund. And the legislature said as soon as the decision was handed down, we intend to appeal. And the thing that I had said, the news, I did the thing, the interview thing, just gave them tons of information, let them do whatever they wanted with it. They ended up, I thought it would be on like one little segment at 6 o'clock. They ended up putting pieces on every 30 minutes for 3 hours, which was kind of cool. And one of the things that I said was, I don't understand this. This has been going on most of my career in education. It's honestly a head scratcher to me. When the courts 3 times have said, you need to fund this, there's unequal access to consistent school facilities across the state of Arizona. And when you think about, we are in the top 4 of districts in the worst shape with our facilities, top 4. And we still are not at minimum standards. All those projects on John's list, those aren't all the projects that need to be done here. Those are just the most egregious things for health and safety. And I don't understand why, when the courts have said it 3 times and the voters have said it once, why the legislature refuses, they have the money, why they refuse to allocate it. So it's a stay tuned. I'd love to see it resolved completely before I retire, but that may be the next person's fight. Regarding our enrollment, in the very back part of your packet, which is a separate agenda item, we have a statement about open enrollment capacities at each campus annually. We kind of make that statement that when classes are full, the reason is, this is for students from outside the district. I think you guys are going by the sun here. It's for students outside the district who would like to come to our schools. We need to reserve program capacity for people who move into the district and live in our actual boundaries. So the board has approved those capacity limits in the past, and you'll see that later on your agenda. The other thing you should know is we are well underway in regard to the new building at CVHS, and we have on tonight's consent agenda the terms and conditions so we can formally accept that money. Mr. Livingston, did you happen to print item letter N?
I just sent it to the printer.
You just, because I emailed Mirza too in case, so she can pull it and print it too for later on. And then the last thing is we have our Superintendent's Education Advisory Committee had its first meeting. Several interesting items were discussed, including the 26-27 calendar, which we will begin working on at the next meeting. Yavapai College will have theirs finalized, which is what we build ours around because of all the dual enrollment classes. But 2 things that the group brought up, they elected Marty the chairperson, president, whatever that's called in SEAC, I don't know. Marty did not leave the room quickly enough and got nominated and voted it all like that before he even had a chance to say yes or no. They want to talk about consistency and student dress code across campuses and staff dress code across campuses. So I thought it was very intriguing. This year's group was super talky. Most of the time, like, because I'm there to listen. So I'm like, okay. Like crickets. This time they're like, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, this is going to be an interesting group this year. I think it'll be lively no matter what. The County ASBA Roundtable event is in Prescott this year, which is kind of convenient if you would like to go. If you can let me know, I will get you registered because Becky's unable to be with us this evening and probably this week because of a health issue. And she can get you registered. I believe it's being held at Prescott High School. And the one thing is, Marty and I attended the Trust Policy Governance Summit. It was on the 28th. Since we're in the process of moving to trust policies, we attended that. And then I attended the ASBA Law Conference because we still have to keep those policies so that we sort of overlap. And I apologize, they sent us nothing about the delegate assembly this year. I know that you all probably are sad about that, but super sad. But I was like, if Becky got it, I never got an email about it. So I was like, oh. But what I did, this was from last week's, and this is for you to take home because the trust is developing a little training for you. Because if you attended our training in July 28th, then you got the child abuse reporting part of it. there's another part to it that nobody's developed training for yet, but this gives you everything you need to know while we're awaiting kind of that official training for that second part. So I know, Inger, you signed up with Heidi to do the training. Marcia, you did it at your school, the first half, the second half, we gotta figure.
Bev was there.
Bev was at the thing, Annie, you still need to sign up. And Cindy, I don't know if you guys do that at your work or not, but if you could just work through Heidi.
I'll send you the link.
But this will give you some basic information about the second half.
Okay.
So,
And I'm kind of interested.
oh, okay,
Okay.
okay. So to the round table?
Yeah, but we don't have to be there.
No, I think it's like, I think it doesn't, like it's dinner. I
It's
think it
usually
starts
like
at
6 o'clock, 5, 6
5-ish,
o'clock,
something like that.
registration or.
Yeah, like
Just
check in.
Go ahead.
So Annie, I'll sign you up. Bev, would you like me to sign you up? Okay,
I'll help just make sure I have it here.
okay. Is there anybody else who'd like to go?
Sorry.
It is Thursday, September 18th. I'm going, since it's in Prescott.
I'm gonna be out of town.
What
Convenient.
time is it?
5-ish.
Okay, I can go.
Okay. All right, I will take care of that, ladies.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So does anybody have any questions about the stuff I just breezed right through?
Here's not. Thank you. All right, item 61 is our consolidated board financial reports.
Good, very good. Madam President, members of the board, staff, administration, ladies and gentlemen, guests. A quick look at the month ended up August 31st, 2025, the second month of our 25-26 year. We're in a position now where the ending cash in all of our funds last year, 6.1 million, is not necessarily being used in our expenses in July, August, and September. It's sitting in last year. And when the county writes checks for us, they consider the cash in each fund before they write our checks. But until about October 5th, 6th, I think October 13th is the Monday that we have our annual financial report approved for last year. Right around that day, the Yavapai County Head Service Agency that works with the treasurer will roll that cash into our beginning balances for the 25-26 year. So that 6.1 million will roll forward. So I'm giving you reports on the expenditures year to date to the end of August from July 1st. Overall cash in that period, revenue was 3.5 million, expenses were 4.1 million. That's just isolated expenditures and revenues in the 25-26 year. But to take a look at how last year's doing, and we have been able to spend in August for goods and services received in the 24-25 year, the prior year, as long as they are received or completed by the end of June, we can still pay bills at that time period. The interesting thing to me was, and our maintenance directors, facilities directors not here tonight, the crew that pulled in, I heard they were coming June 27th, Sunline Asphalt. We did a big bid. We got 3 different asphalt companies bid on our projects around here for fire lanes. I heard they pulled in on June 27th, which would make the invoicing rather interesting. How much work did they do before June 30th? None. So we haven't been, well, actually we did get invoices last week for the work they did starting July 1st. So those hit the 25-26 year. We wrote those checks last week, $580,000 for those checks. So thank you for taking the levy up in that fund 620. But when you look at the fund 620 on your board agenda, there's no expense. I had some encumbrance there, but that's the fund that levy last year was 350,000, that levy. This year it's went up to 500,000. The 24 year was 250,000, and before that it had never been above 100,000. So it came along just in time. That was done. Capital, 29.74% was unspent. Budget of $1,030,000. We spent 700,000. Our M&O budget, you see on that budget summary, 19.6 million for last year. Spent 18.9, carried forward of 689,000. We hope to raise that with these AFR openings to 800,000 carried forward instead of 689. that's the way those work. If we look at Fund 580, we go back to the cash funds, we look at Fund 580. That's the fund that we set up when we built the mini houses, and we finished those pretty much 2 years ago, October of 2023. I think Ms. Wolf can correct me if I'm off. We're still charging $550 a month, the same we charged in October of 2023.
That is correct.
And if you do that $550 a month for 10 units, I think you get 55,000. And then that would be 10 units for, see if I can get the math right here, 10 units for 10 months. Is that right?
12 months.
But just a second. If we just do it for 10 months, isn't it 5,500 a month for 10 months? And then if you do the next two, that would be 55 twice, would be 11 more, would be 66. And then if you look at the revenue here, it's 69. So we've got 3,000 of interest. So it's cool because that 66,000 got some interest. Well, what we do then is we move that cost from our capital fund over to Fund 580. So the expenses were 67. And then that pays the debt service. There's still 138,000 for a few more years to pay off those small houses that we built. So this helps by wages, journal entry, that expense. August in the 24-25 year, ending cash, 5.5 million. We spent more than 10 million last year of school facilities board projects. And again, that 6.1 million will hit our ledger as soon as we roll that cash forward. That's all I have. Any questions?
Are the teachers' houses already all rented?
At this time, they're not, because the teacher that left us, because of the health issue in his family, and then I have another one that the employee left. So, but we've got a couple people on the line looking for our housing, but it's only been a month or two for the one unit, and the other one just happened. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Any additional questions? All right, then item 62 is our student activity.
Yes, student activity. I see the high school cross country has an encumbrance of $3,400, and the high school theater has an encumbrance of $2,000. And those are routine. One is a competition and one, I believe, is a fundraiser coming up. We're going to get some supplies for and different things for theater. Mr. Eisen right on that. So those are the two big ones of note. And I see the choir was closed recently, I guess. For the,
Yes.
we're gonna just put the money somewhere else. Or band, maybe?
Band probably.
Because band is just going. Band is, high school band is just, we work.
Yeah,
with
it
band
makes
forever.
sense to move it to band, to keep it in the arts.
So that's it for student activity for the month. Schools, as usual, way out in front because there's a lot of stuff in high school. And that's it for my information.
Thank you. So moving on, item 7 is our consent agenda, and that's items A through O. Can I get a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
In a second.
I'll second.
I'll second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Item number 8 is our personnel report. 8A is a new position, our diabetic care help aide.
Madam Chair, board members, Ms. Daniels, we're requesting a new position, as mentioned before by Ms. Daniels, that we have a number of children that have diabetes 1, and we're finding that at Territorial, that we are in need of someone to help with diabetic care for 5 hours per day, because there's a period of time where the students need somebody to watch them, because it's really quite a lot for the nurse on duty there during the day. So we just need someone to keep track of the kids and make sure that they are maintaining their blood sugar logs and that they're watching the students to make sure what they're eating and a variety of other things so that we don't have anybody
Giving her insulin.
getting their insulin. We don't have anybody getting sick or having reaction. And Any questions about it?
This is dangerous and more dangerous than mine.
Yes.
So, and you're looking at just an aide position.
This is an aide position, part-time, 5 hours per day. When we talked with Catherine Werner, the district nurse, and Misty Aguilar, the nurse at Tech, they figured that that would be a good period of time straddling the lunches. It's their lunches.
So would they be there for lunch or right afterwards? So they go to the students go to the nurses'
Well, the
office.
school goes to the nurse, but also they're gonna be with them.
It's both. Yeah. Brandy, can you explain kind of what that person does with the kids during that time frame?
She follows them around with 4 different backpacks, monitoring their glucose because their alarms are going off all day. And so these in particular are 5-year-olds trying to manage it, which is a lot. That's why we've asked for, because they know how to silence their alarms, but not necessarily stop what they're doing to get the help that they need. So this person's with them popping in and out of the classrooms. We have them kind of close, but our nurse was about ready to throw in the towel because she couldn't keep up with everything. So
How many 5-year-olds are there?
5 of them right now.
So, yeah, they're wearing the monitor. Some of them, a couple have an insulin pump, but their alarm goes off on the device they carry, so it's audible in the classroom.
Yeah.
Goes off on Brandy's phone, goes off on the iPad in the nurse's office to alert. So it's jaggling for the nerves of the teacher, the other classmates, the kids. So and they explain the process. It is unbelievably complex, including being able to ask a 5-year-old to tell you everything they ate in this last whatever period. And when they know there's things they're not supposed to be eating, they're pinching from other kids' trays or whatever, they're not gonna tell. So.
Is this a significant increase from past years or?
This year, yes. This is the most we've had in kindergarten now. So
17 district-wide.
All right, any other questions? So the person that you're hiring will be educated in type 1 diabetes for sure?
Yeah, the nurse, Catherine and Misty, the 2 RNs, will make sure that they know what they need to be looking for. Yeah, absolutely.
the job descriptions in here.
Yes, right, yeah.
Absolutely, see no other questions.
Yeah. I'll make a motion for the approval to hire 1 part-time diabetic healthcare aide at territorial center.
And I will second that motion.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, item 8B is our annual classroom site fund pay for performance. Ms. Wall.
Oh, I love that.
Annually, we have our staff with our classroom site fund. There's a portion of this called the performance-based compensation plan, and this constitutes 5% of their total classroom site fund earnings. And part of the requirement by the legislature is that at least we get an affirmative vote by 70% of our staff and that are eligible to participate. So this year, as usual, we went ahead and had all of our staff who received classroom site fund vote. 92% of the eligible staff voted, and of those 92%, 99% agreed to the plan.
I'll make the motion for the approval of pay for performance plan.
A second, please.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Marcia, second.
All right, item 8C is tonight's personnel report. Ms. Wolf.
We'll do things at one time.
That's okay.
I just got my computer. So on our Personnel report, we have 1 new certified staff member, 4 new classified staff members, 5 resignations, 1 certified change, 4 classified changes, 1 new coach, 1 extra duty, and 174 timesheets.
I just have a question.
Mhm.
6, 7, 8.
Okay, we open
Is
it up.
Department,
Yeah.
all different
Reasons,
reasons.
okay.
Yeah, like personal health, family health.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
all,
Because we usually don't see like that many right
No.
there.
Yeah.
And then number 2, great hire. That's a really great hire right there. But just wanted to let you know. She doesn't have that.
Any other questions on this evening's personnel report?
I do, and one of the employees that had just started, and I'm reading that employee's
Oh, I bet it was.
Can you tell us
resignation
the number?
letter. Not sure. But anyways, it was mentioned, I was just curious, did she get a sign on, or did this employee get a sign on bonus?
which number?
I bet it was the one.
Those are the questions.
Yeah.
You're okay. None of the employees who are 6 through 10 who resigned received a signing. One received a signing bonus, number 9, but we withhold the signing bonus until a certain amount of time has passed. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
Will
yes,
they get part of that sign on bonus because they worked?
a small portion. Yeah, and then.
But they didn't fulfill, if they did a contract and they didn't fulfill it, and they get that.
We charge people to break their contract.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You have answered my questions really good.
Are there any other questions regarding tonight's personnel report?
No, but I would gladly make a motion for the approval of the September personnel report as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, item number 11A is the first reading of policies 909 through 916. This is first reading only. Do your homework next time.
So as a reminder, because our 2 policy manuals will overlap this year, we need to make sure that we're keeping our current policy manual, which is from Arizona School Boards Association, up to date. The policy changes that are recommended for the most part are due to changes in like legislative action that resulted in necessary policy changes. And then a few are just tidying up language and things like that. So
Is there anything that we should point out
There was-
specifically?
no, there was nothing, like the biggest thing is the mandatory reporting for board members, that applies to you. So I provided you the handout on that, so you can learn a little bit more about it while we're waiting for training on that second half of it, which is mandatory reporting in regards to a staff member. So that's the only other piece that, and the training's still in development phase, but that's why I provided you with it. It's pretty self-explanatory from the little handout I gave you, take home with you. The other thing is, and we'll be addressing this in our leadership team meeting tomorrow, there are 2 policies that will affect our handbooks at our schools, 2 changes. One is to make sure it's regarding student use of cell phones. Our policy is pretty tight, already aligns pretty much with what the legislature came out with this last spring. But we'll make sure for our handbooks next year that the language is clear, that we're consistent across all the campuses with the cell phone language. And then the other one is release of student directory information, which will primarily impact the high school because things like military recruiters, colleges ask for student directory information. There've been a few changes in the law in regard to that. So I'm giving copies of that stuff tomorrow to leadership so they can know how to proceed with their registrars. And then we can make sure that the handbooks are all tidied up for next year. Because one of the big things is opt-in versus opt-out with release of student information. The other thing that's that really isn't it was a minor change in statute, but it had to do with FERPA, like education, like access to students' educational records. Brandy gets the most, I swear. I have read more people's custody papers than you'd ever want to read in your whole life to determine who has rights to educational information and who doesn't. And so there's been a little bit of clarifying language in regard to that. But those are things that affect the schools more than affect you guys. So those were the biggies.
I think that's just first reading, so there is no action on that. Item 11B is open enrollment capacities.
So our last thing of the evening, open enrollment capacities is on page 169 is the cover sheet. Page 170 has the actual form. We're asking tonight that the board approve this as presented. For our general education population, we have reached, this is for open enrollment only, students from outside the district. We've reached capacity at first grade, third grade, and fourth grade for open enrollment. All our other grade levels are currently open. And we have the following programs that for special education that remain open: EDP at Tech, Resource at Territorial, EDP at Del Rio, EDP at HMS, and Resource at HMS. All of our other special education programs, including AIMS, our autism program, we are at capacity for open enrollment. So I would just ask, kindly ask that you approve these capacities and these statuses as noted. And if there are any, we'll continue to monitor enrollment. If we have any significant changes over, then we'll bring it back to you, maybe at the mid-year before second semester starts. So if anything is, we've reached capacity anywhere else, or if we've had some programs open back up. So I just ask that we approve this as presented this
Does this
evening.
count for any new students that might move into the area?
If they move into the district, this is for closed only to people from out of the
Okay.
district,
I just.
because we have to save space for people who move into the district.
Any additional questions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Go ahead.
I'm going to do it. A motion that for the approval of the open enrollment.
Aye. Good night, see you next month. Next month.